Hello everybody. If you want to read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you. Short story 562, The Reflection, Part 2, Intermediate. Emma's heart raced as she stared at the mirror. The figure's grin widened, its red eyes burning into hers. She turned to Sarah, her voice shaking. "It's still there! It's still there!" Sarah's face drained of colour. "We need to leave, now." They grabbed their belongings and rushed out of the apartment, slamming the door behind them. Once outside, Emma leaned against the wall, her breath coming in short gasps. "What do we do now?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. Sarah took a deep breath. "We need to find out more about that mirror. Where did you get it?" Emma thought back. "It came with the apartment. The landlord said it was an antique and part of the decor." Sarah nodded. "We need to research its history. There might be a way to banish the spirit permanently." They spent the next few days in the library, searching through old books and records. Finally, they found a reference to a mirror with a similar description. According to the book, the mirror had been owned by a man named Elias Blackwood, a notorious sorcerer who had been executed for dark magic. The mirror was said to be a portal for vengeful spirits, and anyone who looked into it would be haunted by the spirit of Elias himself. Emma's blood ran cold. "So, the figure in the mirror is Elias?" Sarah nodded grimly. "And he's not going to let you go easily. We need to perform a stronger banishment ritual." They gathered the necessary items: black candles, a silver dagger, and a bowl of holy water. Sarah explained the ritual carefully. "We need to say the incantation exactly as written. Any mistake could make things worse." That night they returned to the apartment. The mirror was still intact, the figure's grin unchanged. Emma's hands trembled as she held the silver dagger. Sarah lit the black candles and began the incantation. The air grew colder and the candles flickered wildly. "Elias Blackwood, we banish you from this realm. Return to the darkness from whence you came." The figure in the mirror screamed, its form twisting and contorting. The mirror shattered, sending shards of glass flying. This time they didn't disappear. The room fell silent and the figure was gone. Emma exhaled deeply. "Is it over?" Sarah nodded, but her expression was serious. "For now, but be careful, Emma. Some spirits don't give up easily." Emma looked at the broken mirror, a sense of relief washing over her. She hoped Sarah was right. She hoped it was truly over. Vocabulary notes. Raced, verb. Definition: to move or happen very quickly. Example: Emma's heart raced as she stared at the mirror. Similar words: pounded, thumped, beat rapidly, galloped. Drained, verb. Definition: to lose colour or vitality, often due to shock or fear. Example: Sarah's face drained of colour. Similar words: paled, whitened, faded, bleached. Grasped, verb. Definition: to understand or seize something firmly. Example: Emma grasped her belongings and rushed out of the apartment. Similar words: seized, clutched, understood, comprehended. Notorious, adjective. Definition: known widely and unfavourably, often for bad actions. Example: according to the book, the mirror had been owned by a man named Elias Blackwood, a notorious sorcerer. Similar words: infamous, famous for wrongdoing, scandalous, disreputable. Grimly, adverb. Definition: in a stern, serious or gloomy manner. Example: Sarah nodded grimly, and he's not going to let you go easily. Similar words: sternly, seriously, solemnly, gloomily. Trembled, verb. Definition: to shake or quiver, often due to fear or excitement. Example: Emma's hands trembled as she held the silver dagger. Similar words: shivered, quivered, vibrated, shook. Flickered, verb. Definition: to burn or shine unsteadily, often going out and coming back on. Example: the air grew colder and the candles flickered wildly. Similar words: fluttered, wavered, glimmered, sparked. Contorted, verb. Definition: to twist or distort something out of its normal shape. Example: the figure in the mirror screamed, its form twisting and contorting. Similar words: twisted, warped, distorted, deformed. Exhaled, verb. Definition: to breathe out air from the lungs. Example: Emma exhaled deeply. Is it over? Similar words: sighed, released breath, breathed out, puffed out. Relief, noun. Definition: a feeling of happiness or relaxation after something difficult or worrying has ended. Example: a sense of relief washed over her. Similar words: comfort, ease, solace, peace. Story written by Proton Lumo AI. Image created by Grok 3 AI. To read all the stories in full, please go to www.steveuk.blog. Thank you.
Hey everyone, and welcome to The Explainer. Today we're going to do something a little different. We are going to take apart a short, pretty spooky story called The Reflection. And it's not just to give you a scare, but to really show you how powerful specific words can be in building suspense, plus, hey, it'll help you boost your English vocabulary along the way. All right, let's get into it.
So I want you to imagine this. You're looking into a mirror in your brand new apartment, but something is looking back at you. Something that definitely shouldn't be there. And this single moment of just pure panic, this terrified cry from our character Emma, this is exactly where our story kicks off.
We are jumping straight into the deep end here. There's no slow build-up. It's just BAM! Two friends, Emma and Sarah, staring at something absolutely impossible in a mirror. And their first reaction isn't to be curious, it's just pure, unfiltered panic.
And notice how the story zeroes in on pure instinct. Emma's heart is pounding. The blood literally drains from Sarah's face. I mean, these are powerful physical reactions to being terrified. There's no room for disbelief or second guessing, just this immediate, overwhelming need to run.
And this right here, this is the pivot point. They've gotten away from the immediate danger, sure, but the problem itself hasn't gone anywhere. They're safe for the moment, but that thing is still back in their apartment. This question totally shifts the story from just a scary moment into a mystery that they have to solve.
So, how do you solve a problem that's, well, supernatural? You gotta do your research. And here in the second part of our story, Emma and Sarah switch gears. They go from running away from the problem to running towards an answer. Their fear starts to turn into a mission.
You can see their fear starting to get organized into a really clear, logical plan. Step 1, get to safety. Check. Step 2, figure out what in the world they're actually dealing with. And that, of course, leads them to the library. And step 3, well, that discovery is where things get even creepier.
So as they're doing their research, they stumble across this word, notorious. Now this isn't just famous, it's famous for all the worst reasons. The second you see this word, you know that whoever owned this mirror was seriously bad news. So keep that word in your back pocket.
And there it is, the big, horrifying answer. The mirror isn't just haunted, it's a doorway. a portal that was made by that notorious sorcerer Elias Blackwood. And the thing in the reflection? It's not some random ghost, it's Blackwood himself. Suddenly the monster has a name, and now they have a target.
You know, knowing your enemy is one thing, but actually facing them, that's something else entirely. Armed with what they've learned and a specific ritual they found, Emma and Sarah make a really brave choice. They're going back in. They know they have to finish this. This is the moment of power, right? They are not victims anymore. They are actively fighting back. So you have to picture it. Candles lit, a silver dagger in hand, and they speak these words, this incantation, confronting the spirit directly, using its name. You can just feel the tension cranking up. And it's a direct hit. The words have real power. The spirit doesn't just, fade away. It reacts with this horrible scream of agony, its entire form twisting inside the mirror.
And with that scream, the portal is just obliterated. The mirror explodes into 1,000 tiny pieces, and that connection is severed. The room goes completely silent. The entity is gone. It's a very final, very explosive end to the whole ordeal.
Okay, so the story's over, and that silence feels like a huge relief. But how did the story make us feel that tension in the first place? Let's rewind a bit and look at the specific words, the actual building blocks of fear that the author used to put us on the edge of our seats. So let's start with raced. It's not just that her heart beat. No, raced implies speed, panic, a heart that's completely out of control. It's a word that puts us right inside Emma's chest, letting us feel her terror physically. It's just so much more active and intense. And raced is just one option. Think about these other words. If her heart pounded, it sounds heavy, almost painful, right? If it galloped, it feels wild, like a runaway horse. Each of these words paints a slightly different picture of fear. And that's why building up your vocabulary is so crucial for expressing yourself. Now let's look at an adverb, grimly. When Sarah nods grimly, it tells us so much without needing a whole paragraph. It shows she's not just being optimistic, but she's also moved past that initial raw fear. She's serious, she's determined, and she totally gets how serious this is. That is a ton of information packed into just one little word.
And again, you've got choices. Sternly might suggest a bit more anger or resolve. Solemnly feels more formal, almost like she's preparing for a ceremony. Gloomily really leans into the sadness of it all. The perfect word really just depends on the exact feeling you're trying to capture.
Okay, contorted, this is such a fantastic horror word. It works so well because it suggests something completely unnatural, something painful and just deeply wrong. The spirit isn't just disappearing, its very form is being violently twisted out of shape. That image just sticks in your head.
And look at these other words. Twisted and distorted are great common choices. Warped is cool because it suggests reality itself is bending. And deformed implies a permanent, ugly change. All of them are really good for describing something unsettling because they tap into our basic instinct that things are supposed to have a normal, proper shape.
And finally, after all of that terror, we get to the word relief. I love how the story describes it as a sense of relief washing over Emma. That imagery is perfect, isn't it? It's like a wave of calm just cleaning away all the fear and tension. It's that feeling of finally being able to breathe out after holding your breath for way, way too long. Comfort, ease, solace, peace. These words really mark the end of the whole emotional journey for the characters. After the racing heart and the contorted spirit, these words feel like a deep, calming exhale. They represent the safety and peace after the storm. It's the emotional reward for their courage. But just as we're settling into that nice, comfortable feeling of relief, the story has one last little curveball to throw at us. It pulls us right back into the suspense with a final, very unsettling line. And it's Sarah's final warning. Just when Emma, and honestly us the reader, think it's all done and dusted, this one sentence plants a tiny seed of doubt. Yeah, the mirror is broken, but is the spirit really gone for good? It just cracks the ending open and makes that feeling of relief suddenly feel, well, a little fragile. And this really brings us to our final thought. We saw how a story can use powerful words to build terror, piece by piece.
But that last warning shows us something even more amazing. How just a few simple words can completely snatch that relief away and throw us right back into uncertainty. Language doesn't just describe our reality, it actually creates our experience of it. And that is a seriously powerful tool to understand.
Thanks for joining me on The Explainer.